Thanks for checking out this movie review video. This is for the 2024 film Infested. It's a Shudder original and it's coming to Shudder on Friday, April 26th. So this is a no spoiler review. Just going to throw it out in front. It's a subtitled film. It is a French film, so it is in the French language. So if you have a problem with subtitles, just know that. Also, if you have a problem with spiders, because Infested is all about spiders, and I know there's some people out there who have a big problem with creepy crawlies. Just seeing them on screen is enough to drive them wild. So my father's one of those people very afraid of spiders, so there's no way he'd be able to watch this film. Now, I am going to say I do recommend watching this film. I think it's very good in my opinion. I had seen the trailer. Someone had sent it to me some months ago before I even knew it was coming to Shudder. I watched it and I was like, that looks pretty awesome. Because I like these kind of like critters running amok, killing people type films. And actually, for my expectation of this film, it exceeded that. Because these types of films, you typically don't think they're going to legitimately be good. You're just hoping for fun. Now, this one is fun and pretty good. This film's directed by Sebastien Vanicek. Also written by Vanicek as well as Florent Bernard. And Florent Bernard also wrote Golden Mustache, Pitch, Groom, and Jack Mamoon and the Secrets of the Valverde, just to name a few films. Again, it's a French film, Shudder original, coming Friday, April 26th. So, synopsis. It's about spiders. So, no, it's a little further than that. So, it's about a guy who's living in a kind of low-income housing facility with a bunch of other people. It's a real mishmash of kind of characters, interesting characters at that. And he's, just trying to make his way in life while also dealing with the fact that it's just he and his sister, and they had lost their mother. So there's kind of an emotional aspect to it with that. He ends up purchasing a spider, this kind of unknown, potentially venomous spider, from a guy who he buys things on the black market from. And just because he kind of keeps these types of things, he keeps rare critters in his room, and it's just, a hobby of his. And then it ends up getting out. And this thing isn't a typical spider. It has other things that happen with it. So from that perspective, you do need to kind of suspend your belief suspend your disbelief, because it's not like any normal spider. They do ratchet some things up with the spider. They do change some things about spiders in order to drive tension and dread and scares and all that stuff, and pacing with the film too. So just know that. And that's as far as I'm going to go. It's about these spiders running amok, and it's in a apartment complex. And you'll see where it goes, because I do recommend. Check it out. It definitely has an opening scene that lets you know exactly what to expect from the film. And by that, I mean it's pretty intense. They do go pretty hard at the scares. They go hard at the attack factor when it comes to the spiders. So that's a lot of fun. It lets you know immediately, if you're here for this, you're getting it. So strap in, because it's going to happen. They use rap music at certain times, and I really dig how it punches up the film in those particular scenes. Because it's interesting when you watch a movie and you're kind of do this exercise and consider the scene that you're seeing without the music, with no music at all. So it's just cool, because I was doing that while watching this, and the rap music was really doing a great job of kind of giving this cool, light, fun vibe to the scene, where if you take the music out completely, it's a very boring, nothing happening type scene. So just a little exercise for people to do while you're watching films. I do that every now and then. The acting is quite good, and the characters themselves are very compelling. So not only are the characters pretty well written and they're interesting, they're all pretty diverse as well as far as who they are as people, but it's also acted quite well. And the dialogue is written quite well. You could really see these people actually existing in real life and interacting with each other the way that they actually do. And it's not samesies. People don't talk exactly the same. Everyone has their kind of own personality with their dialogue, and that's awesome. That means that there's good writing at play here. The sound design is also really good, especially when it pertains to the critters. That's one of my favorite things with these types of films is when you're kind of like seeing those close-ups of, in this case, spiders, and you're hearing some like very distinct, like gross slash weird sounds that kind of drive that ick creep factor when it comes to the actual critters. So that's awesome. It definitely increases people's fright when it comes to these things. It seems like the camera is almost always moving, which I think is a good thing because it keeps things very engaging on the screen. I'm a big fan of kind of constantly moving the camera. Not shaky, not like handheld shaky cam, but I just mean like, moving with a character in a smooth motion, or kind of changing angles, or kind of like being askew, stuff like that. And the camera work's just kind of always moving. It stays very engaged, and it makes you feel like you're kind of moving around the scene, and you can see more of what's going on there. It makes it seem even more three-dimensional. It makes you feel a little bit more like you're kind of there with the characters. So I love that type of stuff. So for that reason, pointing out, cinematography is quite good with this. The directing is very well handled. They do a good job of making the scenes where spiders are moving in on someone pretty tense. Now that's not just done with the CGI that they use, which, by the way, their CGI in this is very good. And I think one of the reasons for that is it's done in kind of lower lighting, and when they're doing the CGI, they're not letting you focus on it too much. It's usually quicker movements with what's CGI. So they don't let you focus on it too long, and it's lower lighting, so if there's any sort of wonkiness, you're just not going to catch it with your naked eye. You would end up having to kind of pause it and like really look at that. So very smart way to handle CGI with a film like this, and it makes it look like the CGI is real life. So big kudos for that, because there's so many films, especially like Shudder exclusives or originals, that I see that the CGI is just not very well handled. You could tell that it's CGI, and it looks really wonky. This is not one of those films. I'm very impressed with how they pulled off the CGI in this. The other thing about the intensity with the critters moving in on people, the spiders, is that the music that they use. The composition is really good. It really kind of increases that kind of tension factor and dread, and you're just like, oh my gosh, here it comes. So, pretty cool. They do a good job of creating chaotic scenes. That's another thing. When things are going down in this apartment complex, and characters are obviously flipping out, it's very important for there to be chaos in the scene, and for the audience to really feel that chaos, instead of people just being like, well, this sucks, what do you think? Like, people yelling over each other, many people around there, just like a cacophony of things going on. This is where the camera movement comes into play, just making things feel very chaotic and intense, and that helps put the audience members in the film even more and help them feel what the characters are feeling at that moment. How things work with the spiders are not plausible, but just go with it. I kind of already talked about this in the beginning, but just for the sake of this movie, and then for the sake of good times, just go with it. I personally do know probably a lot more about like spiders and stuff, and some of the other creatures that show up in this film in a different capacity, just because I did entomology when I was young. I was in the 4-H, actually president of the 4-H entomology club, so I know a lot about insects as well as arachnids and and the like. So me in particular, I was kind of like, spiders wouldn't do this, spiders wouldn't be like this, but then I'm just like, it's a movie. I'm going to suspend my disbelief. Let's see where this goes. And I was happy when I did that. It was good. They do continually ratchet things up with the spiders at a very good pace. Pacing is wonderful in this film. Things keep moving. There isn't a whole lot of downtime, and they just keep the hits coming with ramping things up with these spiders. It's like, boom, there's a problem. Not much longer. Boom, there's another problem. Boom, boom, boom. And the issue progresses so quickly. This film is an hour and 45 minutes and no problems. I don't think they needed to take anything out. Maybe they could have shaved something down a little bit here or there, but nothing significant at all. It's one of those instances where it's past an hour and a half. It's, halfway to, or it's pretty close to getting to 2 hours, and I'm totally fine with it. They actually get some emotion in the story, which works, and I also did not expect. A movie like this, you expect it's just going to be fun, potentially dumb. Not the case. They tried to do more with the story and the characters, and I think they succeeded in that. And yeah, I like it for that. I am going to make a comparison to another movie at the very end, but I'll kind of warn people about that before I do it, because I'll talk about some thematic stuff as well. So if you don't even want to know that, you can stop the video at that point, but I'll tell you when that's going to be. The CGI, again, top notch. Oh, and actually here we are. I am going to start talking about the themes and everything. So let me give you the rating first, and then I'll talk about themes and the comparison to the other movie. Out of 5 stars, half stars in play, I was between 3.5 and 4 stars. So if I did quarters, I'd do 3.75. But I'm going to go ahead and give it the 4-star rating. This is a quite good film. I do definitely recommend it. I hope people are very excited about this, and definitely give it a shot. And when you do, come back here, comment, and we can talk about it, and we can talk spoilers in the comments. So this is also a good time for me to say, for the people who are going to sign off, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That would be the best way to repay me if you haven't already, for putting out all this free content that I do. You can thumbs up on this and all my other videos, and hit the notification bell button to know when I'm putting up all my videos. Anyway, moving on to the thematic stuff, so everyone else who doesn't want to know this, sign off. All right, thematically, there's an aspect of this film that is about people unfairly characterizing others. There's a racial aspect to it. There's, a stereotype aspect to it, some racism type stuff. You'll see what I mean when you watch it. It's done well. It's handled quite well and written well, in my opinion. And it's not like too in your face. There's definitely parallels. Definitely are parallels that people can draw between what's going on in this film and the COVID pandemic. And I thought that was very interesting how they kind of did it in a smart way. It wasn't too like overt and ridiculous like a movie like Sick was. Sick was just like too in your face about it, and kind of like dumb about it. But this one is a little more smart, and you can definitely make that comparison if you watch it a certain way. And it feels, this is the movie comparison I was going to make. This movie feels a lot to me like Attack the Block. If you've seen Attack the Block and you like it, obviously there's no space alien, there's no like alien creatures in this, but there's a lot going on that's very similar between this film and Attack the Block. I love Attack the Block. I think it's wonderful. I think Attack the Block is a better movie than this, but this movie is quite good. So anyway, there you go. There you have it, everyone. Thank you for your time. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, keep it brutal.